Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Psychic Hour with Sandy Anastasi. That's me. And I am just thrilled to death to see everyone back here with me this evening. I love when I send out a email inviting you and a little bit of information on Facebook, and so many people show up. It just does my heart really good to see all of you here and to give me an opportunity to share my gift, which is really being a future-oriented psychic channel with everyone who's here on the call this evening. So thank you so much for joining me. It's my greatest pleasure to be here with you this evening. Let me give you the basic rules of our broadcast this evening. First, we do the Psychic Hour, my assistant Lisa Freeman and I, monthly. I'll tell you right off the date for the next Psychic Hour, because I'm sure I'm going to be having some folks asking about that. The date's going to be April 6th, okay, and that is again a Sunday evening at 9 o'clock. That seems to be the greatest time for me to get people to be able to begin their week with thinking about psychic and metaphysical things. So we'll do that on April 6th. So come back and see me then. I'll remind you again at the end of the hour. Here are our basic rules. This is your hour. I'm here to answer your questions in metaphysics, in astrology, in using tarot, seeing my guide, your guides, channeling information from the other side as far as things that are coming up in the future for any and all of us. And to do that, I'm going to be directly interfacing with you, so you get to ask your questions. And to do that, on the screen in front of you, you're going to see right next to your name, there are 3 columns there, and you see a little hand. Well, if you want to verbally ask a question, raise that hand, and Lisa will call on you when I ask for her to choose a person to ask a question of. Now, we're not going to be able to see you. We're only going to hear your voice. So you don't have to worry about having your hair in rollers or having just stepped out of the shower. You're fine no matter what you've got on or wearing. We'll only hear your voice. And if you're too shy to want to, give your question verbally or your comment verbally, well, then you can go into the chat room. And I noticed that a lot of you have typed your questions into the question box down below the chat room. Type them into the chat room, because that's where Lisa is going to be. And when Lisa sees those questions and I say, okay, Lisa, does somebody have a question for me? She'll also look at those chat questions. And if there's a particularly repetitive question, the same type of thing coming up that will be of interest to everyone, she's going to pick that question the most strongly. But she will get to, and I will get to, as many of your questions in this next hour as we possibly can. And those of you that we are not able to answer those questions, and some of these, by the way, Lisa can actually answer for you in the chat room, because Lisa's also a very brilliant psychic and medium. So we're a great team together. But, we will definitely, if you have those questions and you send us a little email on my website afterwards or on my Facebook page, we will do our best to get back to you with that question to answer it sometime before the next Psychic Hour, so that you are going to have those major things in your life getting addressed, okay? And, of course, I'm wanting you to ask questions that have universal appeal, because this isn't just my opportunity to answer your personal questions. It's my opportunity to teach you a little bit about the psychic world along the way to answering your questions. And so that's why I absolutely love doing this Psychic Hour that initially began all the way back on Infinite Quest, when I worked with that wonderful show that was put together by my good friend John Edward. So this is kind of my own little continuation of that, with me premiering, and i.e. I'm not having any guests that I interview yet. That may come in the future. But right now, it's just me here to be with you this evening for this next hour, talking to you, answering your questions, helping you to get along just a little bit better in this wonderful world of ours. I would like, when I call on each one of you, for you to please tell me your sun sign, The chart that you see up here, my picture is on it, but you'll also see the chart where today's planets are. We call that a horary chart. And honestly, every single one of you on this show tonight, your questions will be answered by that chart if I have your sun sign. So when you give me your sun sign, we're going to look at that chart, and I'll tell you what your answers are from there. I'm also going to be working with tarot cards. I love to do the tarot. I've been doing the tarot for many years. I wrote the Tarot Reader's Workbook, which is kind of a classic in the field. I read Whoopi Goldberg's cards way back when on The View with that book, gave it out to the audience. So it's been around a long time, and people still write me and say how much they loved it. And before we get started, I also want to show you, it's not quite in the picture here. There we go. My most recent book is The Art and Science of Astrology, Astrology, Art, and Science, published by Balboa Press, and you can get that on my website or on Amazon.com. So hopefully if I teach you enough about astrology tonight, you're going to really want that book, and you're going to go in and click on that Amazon store button and get yourself a copy, because it really is written for the layperson. It's for anyone who wants to know about sun signs and how people relate, etc., etc. So enough of all that. Let's get to you. Give me your birth date, and please, when you give me your birth date, before you ask your question, I would like you to tell everyone that's listening what you are most grateful for tonight in your life. Please share that with us. And then ask your question or make your observation or your comment, and we are just going to have a great time with this. Lisa, who is my first person tonight? Who's the first person who was brave enough to ask their question?
Yep, the first person's hand that I saw go up is Susan. Susan, you are unmuted.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Susan. You sound like a familiar voice, Susan. I've spoken with you before, haven't I?
Uh, no,
No.
no, but ever since I saw you, once I found out about you, I felt so connected to you, and I get very emotional whenever I talk about you or think about you. So I have no idea what that is.
So we know each other. That's what that is. Because Susan, I read so many people, both on the air and also privately. So it's not possible for me to remember their names and when I've read them, et cetera, et cetera. There are just too many, and I've been doing it for too many years. But my guides, which I am connected to now and am always connected to when I read, they remember every single person I have connected with ever, probably in every lifetime. So when I say you feel familiar, I mean it. I feel like I have read you before, that we know each other on some level. So thanks for giving that feedback, that you kind of feel the same way. That feels good to me.
I'm excited that you also said that to me, because I thought it was just all in my mind. So that gives me great affirmation. Thank you.
Don't you love it? I just love our little world of metaphysics. Susan, what sign are you?
I'm Capricorn.
Wow. Okay. And, I'm getting these little chills in my own personal astrology chart. Capricorn is my 7th house, which is the house of one-on-one relationships. And I have the planet Chiron in Capricorn. It's actually a planetoid, and we call it the healing planetoid because it confers that ability to work with healing. Makes me wonder if maybe there wasn't some past life that you and I did healing work of some kind with one another. I don't know that for sure. I'm just kind of connecting the dots with the chart here. But Susan, what do you have to be grateful for in your life today that you'd like to share with everyone?
Truly, I am very happy naturally, of my wonderful family and all the blessings in the now that the divine has blessed me with. But I'm really very thankful today for the spiritual gifts that I have been given. Now, I don't understand them, and that's why I'm here with you, but I've had them all my life, and I'm now just in a position to be able to really find some help and find out why and how and what to do with them and everything. But I'm so thankful that Spirit is connecting with me on a level, and has been most of my life. and I just feel very blessed.
Well, it sounds, and that also is kind of confirmation that, I do think that so many of us on the planet today are what Alice Bailey called light workers. And we light workers, almost all of us, are spiritually, psychically gifted in some way. And not all of us, by the way. Some of us are more shut down. See, everybody is psychic, but some of us don't have those gifts real close to the surface. So you don't have to be a psychic to be a light worker. To be a light worker, you have to have your heart in the position of wanting to share your knowledge, wanting to aid in the growth and the evolution of mankind. And almost as soon as you make that affirmation in your heart, you automatically become included in that huge group of light workers, both on this side of the veil and on the other side of the veil. And I really believe that we light workers, we go to school both on this side and we go to school on the other side while we're sleeping. And, Susan, that may very well be where you and I have connected in the past, either in another lifetime as light workers working through many lives together, or on the other planes going to school, literally taking classes out there to learn the things that we teach and share with the world today. Okay, does that feel like it's resonating for you?
It does. It does. Now, I do believe that I have, I've seen a lot of things in dreams, and I've actually had, I've actually warned people about things that have all come true, Sandy. All the things that I have had come through me has been right on. I have never, now I want to clarify this, not me, but the intuition that I have had and that I have shared when I have asked with love in my heart has never failed me. Now, if you ask me my opinion, I'm totally wrong. So
I share that.
I always, just kind of like move out of the way and let whatever's coming through me come as clearly as possible. But to be honest with you, I really don't understand exactly what that is. I don't know if I'm a channeler, if I'm a medium. I have seen, I have tried to go into some spirit classes, okay? And I spoke to the teacher, and she said, you actually have a little bit of every gift. And in fact, you're more clairvoyant than anything and clairsentient. But I really am a layman in this subject. And even though I have predicted children's births of people I really don't know, I have just come out and said, hey, I have something to share with you. Would you like me to share with you? Or someone has opened up to me and told me, how they were feeling that day, and it just comes rushing through to me. And these are times when I was really unaware of what I was doing. I wasn't trying to give too much information. It was just kind of flowing through me, and I couldn't stop it.
Yeah. Susan, let me interrupt just for a moment. Not that what you're saying isn't extremely important. It is, because your experience, when I have one person on the show call in with their experiences, it always resonates with the rest of the group. So I know that there will be at least 5 or 6 other people on this call who are identifying with everything that you're saying and feeling like, yes, I've had all these same kinds of experiences. So when I interrupt you, it's not because I don't feel that what you're saying is valid. It's just that I'm getting incomings I want to share with you.
Yes, please, I'm so sorry.
Okay, no, don't be. I'm grateful that you shared that information. The first thing I want to say is that there seems to be, you mentioned that you were psychic all of your life, and that you had the spiritual connect all of your life, which I see very clearly. And my guides are telling me that this is something that's coming down through the feminine line in your family. So you are not the only one. You may very well have a sister or a cousin who's also very connected. You had a mother or grandmother or a great aunt who was also very connected, maybe all 3. So for you, you're in a family that was always, and this is highly unusual in our world, at least in the generation that you grew up in, for the family to accept and actually give strength and support to those gifts. You see, so many children are born with incredible psychic gifts that they shut down because our society has, for so long, for so many years, not really accepted this. But in your family, that was not the case. And it came down through that feminine line, and it was given great support. And particularly, there was a lot of attention paid to dreams. Hence, you have an extremely active dream life. And yes, you're very clairvoyant, because that's one of the psychic senses. Clairvoyance mirrors the psychic sense of physical vision, only it enhances it. And you were born clairvoyant, as so many of us were, but you did not shut your clairvoyance down. And this is one of the primary ways that you're getting communication through dreams, is through the visuals, okay? So you're seeing clairvoyantly, not just in the physical world, but in your dream world as well. So that's a very strong gift, as is your empathy. And I agree with that teacher who was telling you, is that you have all of these gifts quite close to the surface. You're using them. But I want to give great credit to your family, because the reason that you are using them is because you never shut them down. Wow. So I don't know if you loved your parents or didn't love your parents, but please thank your parents, no matter how you felt about them, because they gave you that wonderful support. Okay. Now, you're also in apparently a relationship with a male who is very supportive as well. So not only did you grow up with that support, but you are also still getting that support, which allows you to move forward into life with this openness and sharing your gift with other people very openly. Now, you didn't mention the ability to do psychic healing, and you also have that ability. So really, you're pretty well balanced with all of these different gifts. And I also did ask my guides, do you have control over these gifts, expecting to get a no, because of you're not having any formal training. And they said, yes, you do have control over them. So you really know which thing you're doing at which time. You can open and you can close at will. You don't walk around wide open giving people readings at all times. You ask for your guides to come in and give you that information. And it sounds to me like you're doing a great job. Okay.
Well, thank you. I just don't know what to do with them, because a lot of people that do this would do it for they do it as a living, and I really want to give my gift freely without, and I'm not looking for an income, but I'm just looking for somewhere to develop my gifts as well as offer them freely.
Well, I can't think of a better place to come and study and develop them even greater than they are now than my classes. So, come to Tampa and study with me with my monthly classes. The next one is just next weekend. It's the 22nd and 23rd of March. We're just right sitting there on the equinox with the next class. And my P1, my Psychic Development Level 1, the whole series, 1 through 6, begins again in July if you wanted to take the entire thing in order. But that's entirely up to you. And I have my classes on Blu-ray and CD and MP3, and I have them on ebooks and regular books. So, I'm really encouraging you to study to get some formal training there. But I definitely recognize the gift is there. You're using it. You do have control. Can you expand on it and enhance it and make it better and feel more comfortable with it? Absolutely. And, so that's up to you if you want to take it further or not. And I'm not saying that because I want to, say I'm not lording it over you. My friend, I still learn and I still take classes. And, if you're really wanting to do the best thing for yourself in this field, your growth and your learning never stops. You see?
Yeah. I'm coming your way, because I know I'm going to meet you somehow, some way. I already know this, and I'm already planning to speak with Lisa on Monday for a private reading with you. So I'm
awesome.
Hoping
Awesome.
Somehow, some way, I will be in a class somehow with you.
Well, and we've recently started something else that I want to share. This is a great opportunity for it. I talk to people all over the world, and I'm not sure where you're calling from. You didn't say. That's another thing, folks. Let me know where you're calling from.
Indiana.
So, Indiana. Okay, at least you're local. You're in this country. I have many people from all over the world calling me who really would love to take my classes and just cannot get there in person. It's just too cost prohibitive and too distance prohibitive. And so now what I've started is, if people want to get a certification in the Anastasi system of psychic development, they can. But they've got to take all the classes on Blu-ray, so they're still seeing me in person, and they have to take Lisa's coaching program, so that she will coach you all the way through those classes, and by the time you graduate, you'll have the same experience as somebody who actually took the classes in person. Yay, hooray. Thank God for modern technology.
Absolutely. Before I pass you on to somebody else, because I know I've been taking a lot of time, and I want everyone to get their questions into you. You're fabulous. You're wonderful. I just have one question. Is there a way for me to find out what is my strongest gift as far as am I doing this, am I able to do this mediumship, or if I'm, is there some way I can find
Oh,
out?
you're certainly able to do mediumship. And, at some point that will be a choice. If you can channel and you can connect with your guides, you can do mediumship. And I'm not diminishing mediumship in any way. It's astonishing. It's fascinating. It's great to get that immediate feedback that you get so many times with mediumship. And it's interesting when you get homework and you have to go out and find out what happened to that. If the medium tells you something you didn't know about the person who passed, and you have to go and do that investigative process, and you say, oh my God, I didn't even know this. How did that medium know that? So there's real proof of the other side when you do mediumship. That's the real intrinsic value. It just feels so good to know we don't die. But personally, I can be a medium, but I so much more want to be a channel, because I'm more about the living. It's just my nature. So I want to connect with our guides to find out what's going to happen next and how to enrich your life here. And some of the people I connect with who are guides are people who have passed. They're people who were your loved ones who stay around to be your guide. So, if you can do the one, you can do the other. So, of course, you can be a medium. Okay.
I think I like channeling better, much better.
Well, but don't make your mind up now. Honestly, it's something that it's almost like like so many things in life. You're addressing yourself to this one thing right now, and it's so much fun, and it's so enjoyable, and you love it so much, and so it's what you want to be. But then next year you take a different course, or you're immersed in a different area of life, and wow, that's great too. So then you want to be that. So keep an open mind. Investigate, explore, and grow is my suggestion to you. Okay?
Okay. As long as I have a good teacher like you to help me learn about these things and develop, I know I'll be okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for calling. Great questions there. I hope that really helped a lot of people on the call who have the same questions as you. Lisa, who's next?
All right, I'm going to go to Janelle. You are unmuted.
Hello, Janelle.
Hi, Sandy. My name is Janelle. I'm calling from New York. I am a Taurus, and I'm studying the tarot cards. I'm getting acquainted with my spirit guides and doing interpretation, and often the card is upside down.
Oh, wow.
And I'm unclear if I should interpret it differently.
Okay, well, and you asked the right person. If you pick up a copy of my ebook, the Tarot Reader's Workbook, I have it as it's available as an ebook and as a regular book. The ebook's cheaper. Okay, I do read the cards right side up and inverted. Now, first off, I am assuming that this is not a new deck, because obviously new decks have the cards all facing the same direction. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, because I've had people say, "Why all my cards are upside down? What does that mean?" I'm like, okay, well, you didn't mix them backwards and forwards when you took them out of the box, So as long as we have that one straight. In general, the broad generalization, if a card is inverted, is that the negative aspect of the card is going to be more pronounced than the positive. That's the broad interpretation. Now, if that card appears in the spread in the future, it may simply be that that has not yet come to be. So you see, it could be upside down in the future, but when you get to the future, it would turn right side up. It's not there yet. You see?
Okay, great.
If the card is a people card, it's one of the court cards, and it's upside down, it would be the negative aspect of that personality. So, if it was a Gemini like me, well, that negative expression could be the person who doesn't ever know how to keep their mouth shut. Okay? Mm-hmm. Or it could be that the person is sick. Or again, if they fall in a future position, that you don't know them yet.
Okay.
Okay? Now, that's the broad generalization. when you actually get into the literal meanings of each and individual card, and that's how I teach the tarot cards. I don't teach them intuitively like looking at a Rorschach picture or scrying. I teach them literal meanings when I teach the cards. And so when you actually get into the literal meanings of the cards, not all of the cards are bad when they're upside down. For example, you might take the Five of Pentacles, which is in the Rider-Waite deck, that's the two people outside of the church, and
Yes.
one, okay? Well, that particular card upside down is much, much better than right side up, because right side up, it's Dark Night of the Soul. It's a bad card. Upside down, you've hit bottom and you're on the way back up again. So it's an improvement. Do you see?
Okay, great.
Okay. Did you have something you wanted to let everybody know that you're really grateful for in your life tonight?
I'm grateful because I had a wonderful day with my family.
Oh boy. Hey, and happy St. Patty's Day.
Yes, you too.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Sandy.
so much. Enjoy and keep reading the tarot. It's probably one of the most gratifying tools in the metaphysical field. It's always been near and dear to my heart. So thanks for coming in and asking that question. It was great. Okay, and Lisa, who's next?
All right. Next we have Beth. Beth, you're unmuted.
Hello, Beth.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Beth, what sign are you?
Libra,
And you're calling from where?
New York.
Another New Yorker. By the way, do you know why New York is one of my favorite places in the world? I was born there. I was born on Dogwood Avenue in Franklin Square on Long Island. Would you believe? So Beth,
Oh, yeah.
as a fellow New Yorker, welcome. And what do you
Thank you.
have grateful in your heart today? What is your area that you want to express about?
My family.
And could you turn there's a television or something on in the background? Would you mind turning that off?
Yeah, let me lower that. Sorry.
Yes, it was just a little bit hard to hear you.
Okay. I'm grateful for my family.
Okay, and so am I. You know, grateful for mine. I think we all are on the call tonight. Very grateful. So thanks for sharing that. It's something to remind us all about. And what question can I answer for you this evening?
Well, hopefully you'll be able to answer it. It's a little personal, and I apologize for asking a personal question, but my dad, today is his birthday, but of course he's gone. He's been gone for a long time. He would have been 95 today. So
My goodness.
yeah, any insight that you can, anything you could tell me would be nice.
Okay, and I'm going to ask Lisa if I can bother her for this one. Lisa, are you available to talk?
I'm not in that mood tonight. I never have when I'm in the chat room. But if she wants to private email me later and
Lisa.
ask a question, then I'd answer that.
Okay, and let me explain. Now, did you hear that, Beth, what Lisa just said?
No.
Well, what she said is that she would like you, because she's engaging in the chat room, and that's taking all of her attention. She would like
Okay.
you to write her a private email, and she will be
Okay.
glad to answer that question. Now, let me tell you the very special reason why I'm asking Lisa to answer that question. First, Lisa is a phenomenal medium. Many people don't realize that because she spends most of her time working with me as my assistant, but she's a great medium. And secondly, Lisa's father, whom she was very, very close to, has also been dead for many, many years. And her father acts as kind of a gatekeeper for her, and he helps other dads to come through very frequently. So I was hoping she might have a little time for you this evening, but since she's engaging in answering all these questions as fast as she can, that would really, and I'm directing you to her because I want you to get the best, okay? Now, while you've got me, do you have a different question for me?
I do. I'm working hard to find the right balance and get to my spiritual self. In other words, all the answers that I look for in life, I don't really need to look because I have them from within.
Yes.
So I'm trying hard to get to that point of within. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Beth, can I ask you, and this is, this is a night for personal things, at least in your life.
Sure.
How to put this delicately? Well, first, let me ask, are you currently married?
Yes.
Okay. And this is the first marriage, correct?
Yes.
And correct, it is very up and down.
It is, yes.
And the reason it is very up and down is because you are married to a gentleman that, although you love him very, very much from the bottom of your heart, he is not as, let's say, spiritually mature as you are. And he tends to create chaos every place he goes. Yes?
Yeah.
And so you see, what you're really asking me is a very difficult question for me to answer, because what you're really saying is, I know I have my spiritual answers. I know I can connect with my own inner self so powerfully, and I know when I'm connected, I can make these wonderful life choices, but within the context of the relationship that I'm in, I am having a very difficult time maintaining my personal sense of balance. Aren't you? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
And this is why it's such a difficult thing for me to answer for you, because unless you can really sit down and speak with your husband candidly and explain to him what the chaotic life that he leads creates inside of you, and that he would understand that, you're going to continue to have this war between the chaos that your life with him produces and your desire for centeredness and peace. When I'm asking my guides, would he understand, they're telling me, no, you've already tried that, and he's not on the same page. He's not understanding what you're even talking to him about. When I ask, would marriage counseling help, my guides are saying yes, okay? Because the counselor will be able to put things to him, to express things to him in terms that he'll get. The bottom line is, right now, when you try to center and you try to do all of your things that are your spiritual pursuits and your balancing, what he feels is you're energetically withdrawing from him, and so he creates more chaos because he wants to get your attention back. And so an outside counselor would be able to explain to him that that's not what's happening at all. What he's actually going to do is get a much more rounded and complete and loving and supportive you. He doesn't need to be fearful. But you see, you can't express that to him because he just feels that you're putting him off. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I wish you much luck, because this is St. Patty's Day weekend. We're on the eve, folks. Much love and much luck. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lisa, who have you got next for me?
All righty, I'm going to go to Cheryl Gardner. You are unmuted.
Hello, Cheryl. Can you hear me? Cheryl, are you there? Cheryl. Lisa, I fear Cheryl has stepped away from the computer. Let's put her on hold and go for someone else.
Let me go down to Holly. Holly, you're unmuted.
Hello, Holly. Yes, hi.
Oh my God. Hi, Sandy. Thank you
Hi.
for taking me. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a lovely evening. It's wonderful, and we've got great weather down here in sunny Florida. Where are you from, Holly?
Wonderful. I am from Bartlett, Illinois.
And what's the weather like up there?
Oh God, it's still freezing here.
Oh, you're going to have to
like
plan
20.
a visit down to Tampa.
I hope so. Oh, I would love to come over there and see.
Holly, what's your sun sign?
I am a Taurus.
Oh, tonight's that
I
night
know.
for Taurians. Yes. Okay. And Holly, what do you have that you want to be grateful for this evening? What do you want to share with us?
Well, I am so very grateful. This might sound strange, but my cats, they're what keeps me going every day. I love my mom, don't get me wrong, but my cats are, because they're my children, they're like, I don't want to say closer to my heart, but they really,
They're your kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That's what keeps me going.
let's look at where they are up in this astrology chart. Okay.
Okay.
There, if you count starting at the I know you folks don't know what the signs look like, most of you, but if you look at the sign that's on the most left-hand side, the little pie shape that's on the left-hand side of the chart, that's what we call the first house. Okay. And if you count down from that first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, okay, because you think of your cats as your children, that fifth house has Aquarius on the cusp, so you are definitely a little weird and wacky about your cats, okay? They are not the average run-of-the-mill cats. I bet you even have a cat who has talked, okay? And why do I say that? Because the planet Mercury, that's the little guy with the horns that is in yellow in this chart. And that little guy with the horns, Mercury, says that that cat can talk, okay, or at least project very strongly psychically at you. It's not your imagination. And you have another cat that is invisible. Nobody ever sees that cat except you. That's because Neptune, that's the blue sign there with the pitchfork that looks like a trident. Okay, and you also have another cat. You have three, right? You have another cat that is a healer. And whenever you're feeling bad, that cat will curl up, and by golly, you feel better after you've sat with that cat in your lap or sleeping against your back.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny you said three because I actually have four, but you would never know. The fourth one, she hides.
You have the invisible cat.
I mean, right, I have an invisible cat. Absolutely. So saying three makes total sense.
Okay, so you have the invisible one, wait, and then the fourth one is the one with the very unusual personality that is not the same 2 days in a row, like a chameleon, right?
You got it.
Okay, there's the fourth one. And the one that's invisible and the chameleon one, they mirror each other, okay, because they're showing up as the same planet here. I love astrology. It's so much fun. So what question do you have for me?
Well, I hope it's an appropriate one that a long time ago, a psychic told me that my spirit guide's name was Jennifer, and now this is like going back 20 years, and I'm thinking, I don't even remember who that was. It was one of those, like forgettable situations. But I'm wondering, would you be able to tell me what my spirit guide's name is? 'Cause
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jennifer,
Holly, believe me, Holly, I am not laughing at you, okay?
Okay, it's all
but your question is, to me, it's hilarious because of my own personal experience. But talking about your issue here, I do believe that at the time that psychic read you, you did have a guidance coming in from someone named Jennifer. But let me explain, when I do a reading, when I open up a channel to the other side, and I connect with your guides and my guides, it's very common, Holly, for someone to have a whole tribe of guides, not just one or two. You might have a guide for your love life, a guide for your finances, a guide for a project you're working on. I believe that everyone comes into life with two main guides, a life guide that they probably had for many lifetimes, and a protector guide also that they probably had for many lifetimes. Now, neither one of those guides is likely to give a name unless you had a very strong relationship with them in some lifetime, and the name would be a connection, because those guides have been with you for so many lifetimes, and they lived themselves so many lifetimes that they had many names. So are they going to give a name? But those guides can go out and get help, which is why you can have a different guide for, dealing with a problem in life or dealing with your finances. And those people come in and go out. They come in and they go out. I had one experience myself where I was nagging my ex-husband to create a concrete block wall for me. And he would not do it. He was procrastinating. And my guides got tired of hearing me nag him. And so I spent all night long working with an Italian bricklayer who showed me how to lay bricks. By the time I got up in the morning, I was exhausted and covered with bruises. And meanwhile, I'm sure that this Italian bricklayer was a guide for the night. You know, he might have been some little Italian man in Italy who woke up and said, man, what a crazy night that was. But he was giving me guidance that night, okay? So those guides that are in and out, I think Jennifer was one of those. I don't think that was one of your permanent guides. Now, the guides who would be permanent for you would be, like I said, that life guide and that protector guide. Some of us also have an archangel. I don't have one of those myself, but I know people, I've read people who have had them, an angelic presence around them. And also, it's not uncommon for people who have been relatives, and not necessarily relatives you knew. It could even go back 2 or 3 generations in the family that for whatever reason choose to be around you and give you guidance. So most of the time when you have a permanent guide who's there for a long time, it's either a deceased family member giving help and love, or it's one of those higher guides, the life guide or the protector guide. So can I give you the name of your guide? No.
Okay.
Okay. But the reason I said this was so funny is for many years I was teaching classes, and when I'm teaching the classes about how to meet your guide, and I have a tape on this, you can get it on my website, it's on CD or MP3, and it's meeting your guides, and if you're open to it, you will get the name that they agree to be called by. Now you notice I didn't say it's their name, because by the time they get to be guide status, they've lived lots of lifetimes, they've had lots of names, but they will give you a name that you agree to call them by. Well, I was teaching this to my students for many years, and I didn't know my own guides' names. I could see them. They taught me at night when I slept. I had nicknames for them, but I didn't know who they were. And eventually, I actually stumbled upon them. One of them, for example, one of my guides is St. Francis of Assisi, who incidentally isn't just my guide. He is a world teacher, and I get to share him with the world, but he does help me as well.
Wow.
And I'm not Catholic.
Wow.
I walked into a Catholic religious goods store one day, and I saw him standing there, you know, a little statue of him, and I just snagged him and ran up to the counter and said, "Who is he?" That's how I found out who he was. Okay, so you know, if you want to know your guide's name, do that meditation, and you'll get a name that you can work with. And also put the thought out, you know, say, I want to hear your name. I want to know your name. And your guide will show you that name. For example, if your guide's name is Bruce, you're going to see the name Bruce written everywhere. Okay?
Wow. Okay.
You'll get it. Now, did that help, I hope?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Definitely. Yes.
Holly, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And good luck in your hunt for guide names, okay? Yeah. And you know, in my readings, if a guide gives a name, then I get it and I give it to you. But that very rarely happens because, like I said, your higher guides have had so many lifetimes. Which name do you want? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Have a great evening and a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you. Same to you. God bless you.
Bless you back.
Thank you.
Lisa, you know, you've been in that chat room talking to people. Do we have anyone in the chat room that's been asking like a repetitive question? Is there something that's coming to your attention that really needs to be addressed?
Every one of them. But let's yeah, it's just crazy in here tonight. I absolutely love it. One question that I have seen a couple of times, and I don't know if you want to address this or not, but people are very curious about the missing airplane.
Ah, okay. And you know, I like the way Lisa put that. She's very curious. People are very curious, but she's asking me, do I want to address it or not? And I'll do something for you folks that I haven't done so far in this incident. My students, my clients, my friends have been saying to me, Sandy, you know, you're awfully quiet about this whole thing. And when I get quiet about things, it's usually because I have a good reason. Well, The very first thing, as soon as I heard about the plane disappearing, before they even began the search for it, the very first impression that I had, and please folks don't think I'm totally way out here because it's going to sound way out, very first feeling that I thought was either a Bermuda Triangle kind of situation, or perhaps a situation where an alien force of some kind just transplaced them into a different time and space. Okay, so I hope that they turn up, and I hope I'm incorrect. But usually when I get those real, like without even thinking, just a pow, there it is, that usually turns out to be pretty close to the truth, as way out and as weird as it sounds. Now, that said, let me share this with you. I tend to dissuade my students from trying to find airplanes, boats, cars, missing people once it has gotten into the news. And the reason for that is that by the time these things hit the news and the news starts to work it over, what happens is every single person who thinks about this thinks a different scenario. Some people think the plane was hijacked. Some people think it went down in just a very deep part of the ocean. Maybe a whirlpool hit it, or. And so as many different people as you can imagine who can consider something like this, that each one of us has a scenario, a creative scenario that our mind puts out. Well, to a psychic, all of those creative scenarios are literally like footprints covering over a crime scene at a police investigation. All those mind prints cover what really happened. And so we reach a point where the only way that you can find out the truth psychically is by going up into spirit and by asking your guides who see from a much higher level than you, would they please give you that information? And you know, very often your guides are like, well, what for? You know, it's not of interest to them. That's not something that's going to help your life. So it's not necessarily an easy thing to psychically get the information as to where something or someone is once it's become this major public event. Okay, but I did share with you my initial POW, which happened the instant I heard of the plane being lost, which was at that point 6 hours after it was lost. It was before it was at the point where they were initiating a search. Okay, but that still doesn't mean that the airways were clear enough to get accurate information. I mean, there still is the possibility I was just picking that thought up out of the random thoughts of a group of people that had a similar vibration to the track that I was on. I hope that makes sense to folks. It's just one of those things that's very, very difficult to do psychically unless you get higher guidance at that point. Okay? And I hope that, you know, Lisa, all those people in the chat room, just let them, you know, type a little Y next to their name if that answers the question for them. I hope it did give them at least some insight as to how to work with that. I have not been able to come up or to find agreement within myself with any of the other scenarios that have come along. So, and my guides have basically withdrawn from the issue. It's like they've just pulled back from it. And that's the only information that I can tell you. Okay? And by the way, the only information I had from them was, Sandy, keep your mouth shut. And of course, now I haven't. So, okay, folks. Lisa, do we have another question of somebody who's got their hand raised?
Well, actually, I'd like to take another one out of the chat room.
Oh, okay.
Because I think this is an important question. Kevin is asking, can and how will taking the Kabbalah path working help him to develop his psychic development?
Oh, wow, Kevin.
That's like that one.
Oh, that's huge. That is just huge. You know, Kevin, there is on my YouTube channel, there is an hour-and-a-half overview. It might be an hour, but it's something like an hour and a half overview of Kabbalah path working. And anyone who wants to do the path working, who's interested in it, I would suggest to go and to listen to that, because it really gives an overview of what the whole thing is all about. Now, that said, your question specifically is, how will it develop your psychic ability? Kevin, the two most important things that I teach are Kabbalah and psychic development. Both of them are transformative in an absolutely amazing way. When people study these classes with me, they usually come because they want to be a psychic, or they want to learn about the Kabbalah and what this system of thought is all about. What they end up with is a full transformation of themselves in every way, shape, and form, an ability to be more centered and more balanced in every aspect of their life, to prioritize, to organize, to see the world through new eyes. And in particular, given the Kabbalah, they learn, get this, to navigate through the astral plane. Now, that's asking somebody who hasn't taken it a lot to understand that. But what the astral plane in our world is, Kevin, is everything that is emotional, that's totally intuitive, that is people's imagination and thoughts, anything that you can dream, all of your beliefs, everything that is mind stuff exists on that astral plane. When we leave the physical plane, when we sleep, for example, and we leave our bodies to go out on the astral at night, which we all do, the first thing we need to do is to pass through the lower astral plane, and then we need to move through the upper astral plane, which is where most of us will go in the dream state to learn or to meet other people or to recharge our energy. Well, the Kabbalah teaches you to navigate the astral plane. It teaches you to be in charge of your emotions. It teaches you to connect with the spiritual side of yourself. It teaches you to really understand yourself inside and out, and understanding yourself helps you to understand the mirror of the world around you. I could go on and on and on. The amount of things, the wisdom that you learn from the immersion experience, because it is not just learning about the Kabbalah, it is Kabbalah path working. You are in the path. You are in the experience. You are directly experiencing the experience. And each person who takes this will learn something important that is at the level they are at right now, that leads them to the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. Because the Kabbalah is a system of thought which tells us how matter returns to spirit and how spirit becomes matter. Literally, it's like taking Einstein's theory of relativity and teaching us how to live it and manifest it. Now, I know that sounded like a lot to swallow, but it's a pretty good overview of how it's going to help your psychic abilities. Every one of your psychic abilities gets enhanced, every one of them. Most especially your ability to center and to connect with your guides and your higher consciousness. And Kevin, if that got it, please give Lisa a little yes. Okay? And Lisa, who else? I have a couple of minutes left here. I'd like to try and address at least one more person.
Ready?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go to Robin. Robin, you are unmuted.
Hello, Robin.
Hi.
Robin, what's your sun sign?
I'm an Aries.
Okay. And so you're interested in relationship issues this evening, yes?
Well, kind of, not really relationship as much as kind of, I'm having a big birthday and, you know, just kind of what's going on in my life as an Aries and, you know, just kind of wondering.
It's kind of a self-check time, isn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah, and looking at the chart, Aries is the sign all the way on the right side of the chart, along the horizon there, and in that house you'll see the south node. That's what that horseshoe-looking thing is, and that says that you're doing a self-check. You're getting yourself back on track right now, and in this birthday party there are going to be a lot of people from the past. And a lot of relationship issues are going to come up about those people from the past. And you're looking at that kind of with a little bit of trepidation, because that's one of the things that's going to be kind of helping you to get a better handle on what you want, where you want to be, how it's going to go. In particular, we're going to look across that chart to Mars. See that little circle with the stinger coming out? That's Mars. It's red.
Yes, I
And
do.
North Node in Libra. And so there's a person in your life, probably a male, who's rather, you know, a little bit aggressive, a little bit strong, and you're kind of wondering how he's going to handle all this stuff. Okay? And,
Okay.
you know, just have a good time. Enjoy it. This is your time. It's your day. And maybe this is time for you to be a little bit selfish and not say, okay, I need to make everybody else comfortable the way you usually do. You see?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So worry about you and let everybody else just line up and take care of themselves for a change. And if that guy decides to pout because he's not getting all the attention, just say, hey, it's my birthday. Okay.
Okay.
Where are you calling from?
I'm in Southern California.
Oh, I'm not going to ask you what the weather is there. You got that beautiful, warm, wonderful, dry,
90
perfect weather.
degrees today.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Crazy. Crazy.
And what do you have to be most grateful for right now, aside from this wonderful birthday you have coming up?
You know, I'm just really grateful for my family, my husband and my children, and we're happy and we're healthy, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yeah. And now, are your children like in different areas? Are they scattered a little bit?
No, my children are still here, but my daughter is going to be 17 next week, and she's wanting to go back east to college. So
okay, so that's what I'm seeing is coming up, because I'm feeling like there's this, and that would be is your daughter the oldest one, the first one?
Yes,
yeah.
yes, my baby.
Because
my big girl baby. Yes.
Yeah, tell her, you know, I like that. I know it's going to be hard on you, but she wants to get the best education she possibly can in the field she wants to get involved with. I mean, having the right certification from the right school is so very, very important to her, and she's going to do it. She's going to do very, very well, and I see that so clearly in the chart that's right here, the Horary chart. And you're very because she's Leo in the Horary chart. She follows you as Leo. That's where she shows up as, and you know. You're a little concerned that she's going to go through those boyfriend relationships, and she's not going to tell you, and she's not going to be there to, you know, cry on mom's shoulder. But, you know, you and she have a close enough relationship that that distance isn't going to matter. It really isn't.
I think you're very right, but yes, you're right. I do get concerned.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard. The first one, it's really hard. First one and the last one, you know, and for you that might be both, you know.
It is, exactly, exactly. Exactly. Do you see my daughter going quite far away to school?
Let's see. You know, I'm going to really lay this one on you.
Okay.
If you don't want her to go, she'll find a place to stay home. But she really wants to go.
I know. I know. She wants to go to New York.
But really, the energy that you put towards it will make the difference for her. Just like I said, I don't like to put that responsibility on you, but you need to be aware of that. It's hard for you to just really put it back to her and say, hon, I will support you in whatever you do, because your feelings are so strong.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right, but I will do, because I know that's where she's meant to be. She'll end up where she's meant to be, and I'll support that.
Yeah, and I think she'll do real well. I really do. I have very, very good feelings about what she's doing, what she's going into, and obviously you know, you are her role model. She's very, very much like you, and she'll pattern her life after you in so many ways. Yeah. Isn't that
that's
now?
right. That's
and
nice.
I'm assuming she is what you are here to be grateful for tonight.
Yes. My two babies and my husband. I'm very grateful. We're doing so well.
That's great. That is just great.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for calling in, and and you know, call back again and let us know how she does. I
will.
Interested. Yeah. I think,
well, no,
really,
next year at this time.
Yeah, I see success all around her. You know, I really
Wonderful.
do. I think she's going to be tremendously successful in what she does, and
That's
and also I see her making a lot of money.
Oh, that's very nice.
And that's always good, isn't it?
Always, yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Folks, we are 10 o'clock. We're just about time to be done, but I have a couple of announcements I'd like to make. I'm going to remind you that our next Psychic Hour is going to be on April 6th, and these shows always have over 100 reservations, so come early so that you're able to get in and don't have any problem, you know, afterwards saying, hey, gee, I wish I could have seen it. I am taping this, and so there is going to be somebody's unmuted. Please mute.
Obviously, what I'm doing is obviously something.
Is that Heidi? Mute. Thank you. Holly. Okay. I think that each time we meet, we always learn so much more. And so I'm encouraging you to come back again and again and again. Even if it's not your question I answer, you're going to get something out of those questions, because every single question is pertinent in some way to everybody who's here. These are educational, informational pieces of information that I'm giving you, not just psychic information for an individual. This coming weekend, March 22nd and 23rd, I'm teaching my Psychic Development Level 3, folks. It is so exciting. We're going to learn how to do crystal gazing, and we're going to learn psychometry. That's reading the vibrations on an object. We're going to learn how to astral travel. We are going to meet our guides. So we're going to have all kinds of wonderful things going on there. If you're in the Tampa area, please come join that class. You're going to be so glad you did. On the 27th of this month, I'm with Sandy Peters on the Holistic Soul, her wonderful radio show at 9 p.m. I'm doing an advanced astral traveling, astral projection webinar with Joanna Perez and her group on April 5th. That's right here online. That's at 4 p.m. Look at my website and find out how to get registered for that. On April 11th and 12th, folks, I'm back in Tampa teaching Seeing Beyond the Veil. What is out there? Taking a look at the other side. That's on April 12th and 13th. And on April 13th and 14th, I'm teaching Psychic Development 4. And folks, if you're interested in channeling and or mediumship, that is the class you do not want to miss. It introduces both of them. And I'm Sandy Anastasi. I have enjoyed being with you tonight so much. Call again on the 6th of April, and I'll move faster. I'll hit more of you. I will get more questions. If I didn't hit your question this evening, send that question to Lisa at lisasainc@aol.com, and we'll get that answered for you. Good night, and thank you.